Hello and welcome to Soul Love with Kimness. I am Kim van der Zande, your host, and I'm super excited to share another episode of Soul Love with you, where we share inspirational and empowering stories from the heart. We talk about the beauty and the shadows as both are part of the ascension journey, to remind you that you are powerful, you are magical, and to have trust in what you feel to be true deep within. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Before we start the next Soul Love conversation, I want to invite you to check out my amazing book, Activating the Flower of Love, a sacred guide for manifesting your deepest desires and highest calling. This sacred book, filled with powerful tools and activations, will guide you to open your heart to the beauty and wisdom within you, empowering you to create the life you deeply desire from the foundation of love. You can find Activating the Flower of Love in all the major online and offline bookstores in ebook or paperback, or you can check it out through my website, kimness.nl, where you can also discover the different ways of working with me and the latest updates on new starting programs. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love.
Okay.
Welcome everyone to a new episode of Soul Love, and today I'm honored and excited to share a sacred conversation with Dorinda Farver. I welcome you within this sacred space.
Thank you.
It's really amazing. We're both from the Netherlands, and it's always something magical when we also are able to meet in real life, and there's something. But I really love your teachings. I think I've met you many, many years ago when I started your yoga classes. I think I was 16 back then. But you have been doing yoga for so many years, and you're really stepping up also in this space of coaching people and really coming back to body wisdom. And I think that's such an important key in this time and space. And I want to invite you to ask you, like, how did that evolve from you from yoga and rediscovering the messages of your body and what they have to share? And yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, interesting that you say you were 16, and I think I was 36 when I took my first yoga class. So
Wow.
you don't have to, there's no starting too late, and it just went so fast from there. And yoga wasn't really that big in the Netherlands at the time, and I grew one of the biggest yoga schools in the Netherlands, and then I just kind of felt like there was more to it, and I wanted to translate it in a way that wasn't just yoga. And so I started doing more coaching. I did an ICF accredited coaching education, and I've developed my own program within the ICF coaching, which is International Certified Coach. And so I teach coaches and other people how to work with their own energy, basically creating their own safe space so that they are able to connect more intuitively with their clients and work in a way that they absolutely start to recognize what's coming up in their bodies, because that's where the information is.
Yeah. It truly is. It is, yeah, and it's. I think for all of us, it's an invitation to go within, because for so long we've been searching for the answers there, but we have all the tools and the abilities within ourselves, and there's so much wisdom. And maybe you want to share, as you start working with that, how that evolved and how you started to recognize some also the patterns and sometimes the limiting beliefs that are stored within our field, and to awaken them. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, a limited belief, I think, is that certain emotions aren't good, or certain feelings that come up aren't good. I'm also a crisis coach. I'll call it that, because over my lifetime, I have also experienced some crisis in my lifetime. And those crisis moments are the opportunity to transform where you are. If everything's easy, you don't grow.
Yes.
If there's no crisis, you don't transform. So this crisis is where the wisdom is. And most of us numb ourselves and run away from it. And I have the techniques and tools to help you stay with it, transform it. And then maybe it's fear or anger or grief or whatever it is that is like making you feel like you are out of control, transforms into love every single time.
Yeah. But there needs to be a willingness to look beyond. There needs to be a braveness to do so. So what has helped you in your journey in moments of crisis to really not dive into the crisis and almost like fade away in what is happening, but really to see, to take a step back and to honor the greater message, and also to bring yourself back to love in those moments.
I've had great teachers. I've had amazing people around me because I don't believe that we're supposed to carry it alone. I don't believe, even though it is within you, you need the tools. And I've had some really great teachers who I can't hold it together when I'm around them. I melt when I'm around them. And it scares the crap out of me, but I want to be there at the same time. So this is what happens when we have and I believe that when we're open to that, those
Mhm.
possibilities come to us. You
Yeah.
know, what we're called to, and then I just break down. My teacher, Robert, was one who I can't hold my shit together. Why
Yeah.
would I want to hold my shit together? Let it go. But that's what we do. So
Yes.
we're ashamed or afraid, or we think we're not strong if we do that. And that's where the power lies.
Yeah. In our vulnerability, in our authenticity, in almost like, because that's what I notice as well. The more love I embody, there are a lot of things that are falling away or falling apart, but it is because they're so out of alignment. It is the controlled mind that wants to kept holding on to them. And when we go on this journey of within, it's also a lot of things that will fall away or that we need to witness before they're ready. But it's in our authenticity or vulnerability that we're willing to do that. Yeah.
I'm going to take it a little further than that because it's not even a willingness. It's
Mm.
you can't hold on to it anymore.
Yeah.
So this is why crisis is important. You know,
Mhm.
you're not going to give up until you have to. You're not
Yes.
going to give in until you're so sick and tired of it, or it gets too heavy for you to carry and you have to surrender. You have no other option. That's why I like the crisis moments, because
Mm.
you can't hide.
Yeah.
You
No.
can't hide, you can't numb it, it doesn't go away, you can't run away from it. So whether it's, death or diagnosis or divorce or any of those things that are just, or war, even right now, so much is going on, or things that you just don't understand. That wisdom, okay, is within me. So we
Yeah.
talk about energy, and
Mm.
I want to be careful how I say that because it's not electricity. It is, yogis call it prana or chi, or
Yeah.
and it's really expanded by your breath and by your movements.
Mhm.
When I can start to notice that prana, that energy within my body, which is the techniques I learned from yoga and
Mhm.
breathing and meditation. But if I don't connect to that, I'm just guessing in my head. And I don't have a navigation system to help me through that. So
Yeah.
the techniques of yoga helped me to pause enough to give space to feel the crisis in me,
Mm.
to go deeper into the emotion, to the deeper layers, and then people around me holding space for me as I do that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah. Because we are all in our unique way being invited to go into uncharted territory, to go deeper than we've ever done before, because that is the only way we bring change. And that's the only way how things start to shift. But I understand as well the crisis. It's not always easy. And especially when you're in the middle, I've had a couple in my lives as well. But when I now look back, those are the most powerful moments where I really stood for my light, where there was a deep remembering because I needed to surrender. There was nothing possible. And in that surrender, the light within me arose, but it's not easy in that moment. So for everyone tuning in, because I know a lot of us were sometimes in these deep moments, like what really helped you to, like, were there, like, what helped you to be able to be brave enough to go within, to not numb yourself, to not walk away? What really helped you to stay with it and to center and to hold space?
You make it sound pretty. It's not.
No, it's not. No.
It's not pretty because I'm devastated. My heart is physically breaking. I can feel things like even now I get emotional about it because I think those it's
Yeah.
just so powerful and you melt. It melts you in a way that is so, devastating.
Mm.
So mm, maybe you don't get out of bed for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe, you just get to the point where it's you feel the pain of whatever is processing inside of you. I'm not sure what's coming up in me now, but it's coming because
Yeah,
it's the remembering of, I get to be a mess. I
yeah,
give myself permission to be messy, to not function well. And that doesn't mean I'm going to stay there forever,
yeah,
but you've got to have the grace and the patience and the love to let yourself be a mess.
yes.
And we all try and hide that. And we all try and say, oh, I have to keep my stuff together. I have to be okay. I have to be all right. I can't let other people show that I'm weak. This isn't
Mm,
weak.
no,
What happens is that energy starts flowing.
yeah.
I believe that it's love.
Mm,
And I believe that that energy, that love starts to push out the pain. And sometimes it comes out of my eyes, and sometimes I cry, and other things happen, or I feel aches and pains. Those aches and pains, when we listen to those, when we give them permission to be there, instead
mm,
of trying to be somewhere else. So the teachings of Eckhart Tolle are also the power of now. So
yeah,
I'm calling my training body wisdom now, because
yes,
it's what is happening in this moment,
yeah,
not what I think I should be doing or
yeah,
what happened to me in the past. But all of the information you need is right now.
yeah. But it's reconnecting to the messages of our body, of our emotions, of this now moment, and to really um, also honor them as the sacred thing that is there. We sometimes take a lot of things for granted, but it's really in this pure raw now moment. But that is inviting us to let go of. I think what I hear in your story as well is like the letting go of judgment. Like we judge ourselves so much, and we have a lot of things that we should or that we need to do. We think we need to do, but really coming like the now moment is also inviting us to really be present. And in the presence, everything is yeah. But I love that. But it's the judgment part about our rawness, about our letting go, our surrender, our not feeling well, or allowing to stay in that moment. Because I think if we were being taught at school the power of our emotions, the messages of our body, all of that, we would already know that we would go differently with them. But now it's like, okay, we've been on this trajectory for so long, and there's the judgment. But if there was more openness when we were younger, then it would also allow us to be more in this space of compassion and love. We are sometimes our own worst critic, and it's really
Definitely.
embracing that, like, okay, what if I would stay with myself with more compassion and love, what would happen and what would shift and what would allow, like if a little child would come to you, you would just hold it if it was crying. But somehow when we do it with ourselves, we start to judge, like, okay, this is inconvenient, or I don't want to feel it, or it feels very uncomfortable. But we're also denying a part of ourselves in that. We're denying our life force energy, our chi, we're dimming a part of our power, of our resilience that we need, a part of our also our navigation system, because that is within. Yeah.
So I like the word dimming that you said, because I think that
Mm,
that's something we do a lot as we hold back or we put up walls so that we can keep it together, or
yeah.
we dim our light so that we can fit in a situation where we're not even comfortable being.
Yeah.
And the fear behind that is, if I really become as big as I am energetically and really turn my light on,
Hmm.
people react around you. They do. And if light repels darkness,
Hmm.
darkness doesn't like you turning your light on.
No.
And that's what's happening right now. How do you have the courage to continue to turn on your light?
Yes.
Things change when your energy is big. Your biggest job, our biggest job, my biggest job to help myself, my family, and the world is to turn my own light on, to
Yeah.
keep my own energy high. I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to save anyone. I don't need to fix anyone.
Hmm.
I can still do the work. But if
Yeah.
I'm doing it from a place where my energy is low, I'm going to burn out.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I'm going to guess. I'm going to think, oh, I should have done more there. I'm going to doubt myself. When I'm
Yes.
in that energy, I have no doubt.
Yeah. No, it is this alignment. And in the alignment, we can, but we also, because I think the invitation as well, because I think that's a powerful thing you shared. Like when we shine our light, sometimes people get triggered by that. But it's then our invitation to not take it personally. and to really
Yeah.
keep honoring our light, because the biggest change can happen in that mirroring, in them being triggered. And something like, it's again our mind. Maybe for me, I was very a people pleaser, so if something happened, I would, but that doesn't help per se the other, because by me shining my light, they get, and when they get triggered, that's for them like almost a little crisis that helps them to break out of that cycle, instead of me sugarcoating it or helping or dimming my light again, because then we keep on repeating this dynamic, and that's not healthy for me, but also not for the other.
Because then you're a pleaser, and
Yes.
you cannot allow okay, one of the I've been through some heavy stuff in the last years, but um, one of the highest spiritual practices is being able to watch suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Can you let someone else struggle so that they can grow? And
Yeah.
what we tend to do is it hurts us when we see someone else struggling. And karmically, they have to go through what they have to go through. It doesn't mean you can't help them,
Yeah.
but how do you help them without enabling them? How do
Mm-hmm.
you empower them? And that wisdom only comes from love and
Yeah.
not from guilt or from fear.
No.
And
No.
it can look the same on the outside, but how do you stay in that energy? I know, because when I go into my practice and I get into a meditative state, I have no fear. There's
Yeah.
no fear there. I feel love. I feel overwhelmed with joy. And then I go back out into the world and, that's what I do. But this is why we need to continue practicing it. This is why we need people who are a few steps further than us, because their light being on helps us see better.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all you are, is your light turns on so others can see better. If your light isn't on, it's not
That's it.
helping.
But again, it's holding space. That's what I notice in my beautiful circles as well. And all, but in the end, you're doing it yourself. It's holding space with love and compassion, and sometimes also having just the note of you can do this, or there's more to what you're going through right now. There's a deeper remembering. But in the end, we all have the capacity within ourselves, within our body, within our knowledge, within our connection, within our, and I think that it's time to remember that power we hold within ourselves. Like, there is so much that wants to come out, that wants to be birthed, that wants to grow, that wants to expand. But I think that one big thing as well is that as you grow, as you expand, it doesn't mean you will never be angry. It doesn't mean you will never feel sadness, or no, but it's the resilience that counts. It's not being afraid of our emotions, not being afraid of the moments where crisis happens, and we're being invited to crack another layer that is not our authentic self. And in that, we grow and expand again. But I think it's honoring that journey, not judging it like, okay, oh, I'm doing it wrong again or something. But it is in the willingness to stay centered in the now with everything that is happening. There is the true power, not walking away, not, but
In
staying.
the trigger, in the trigger. And my one teacher called it a spinal reflex reaction. So there's something in you, maybe it's karma, I don't know, but something responds or triggers me. So it's not
Mm.
what happens, it's what triggers you.
Yes.
Those triggers are the body wisdom. Go into the
Mhm.
trigger. Go into, oh, this pisses me off. Oh, that makes me sad. Oh, that
Yes.
feels painful. Go into those things within yourself with the help of a coach or some practice that you have that allows that trigger to expand and give it the trigger permission to be there. What
Mhm.
we do is like, I don't want the trigger. That person drives me nuts. No, you get to the place where the person is still there doing what they do, but it no longer triggers you.
Yes.
That's the magic.
Yes, it is. And it's also empowering because the shift is within you,
Yeah.
because you don't have to change the other. No, you got the tools within yourself. Again, you hold the power to shift that. And that's such a, but also in that, it's the non-judgment of, okay, there is a trigger. And then with openness, okay, what does it want to share with me? Instead of starting to judge the trigger. And I think, again, it's love and compassion, holding space to truly, because if you look at unconditional love, it accepts all, the light and the shadow. There's no judgment of, it's our mind that starts to label things as inconvenient or bad or right or wrong. But from love, it's just an experience, it's energy. And how can we allow the energy to flow instead of containing it in a box like, okay, this is not good, or this is inconvenient, or I don't want to feel this. How can we allow the openness in, and so that it can expand again? Yeah.
Yeah, and then I find it tricky, the word love, because people misinterpret what that
Yes.
means. Um, it doesn't have to be happy. You don't have to be
Mm.
happy about love, but you can find peace.
Yes.
So there's a difference between, like, the crisis that I'm going through doesn't have to make me happy, but I can find peace when I connect energetically. And
Mm.
that's the key thing that I really want to give in this talk with you today is we can talk about love and peace and happiness and blah, 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 but none of that really, really happens on a deeper level unless you can connect to the prana, to the chi, and the techniques that I have or the world has to do that. It doesn't have to be yoga. I don't care what it is. For some people, it's going for a walk in the forest and taking
Mm.
deep breaths, and they naturally just do it. But there are proven techniques that you
Yeah.
can use, and you don't have to get on a yoga mat. You don't have to do any of that. But how do you connect? And most people are confused about meditation as well, because meditation isn't sitting there listening to somebody talk you through a body scan. That's not meditation.
Mm.
Meditation is you noticing the energy melting into it, and you have no idea how long you've been there. So you really go into the energy, and not many people have experienced that in a way that is really, yeah, at the deepest level. I think artists do this as well. When they're creating something, they go into an energy that's just it's there, and they
Yes.
pick up all the pieces of information in the energy.
Mhm.
So when my energy is big, there's lots of information in that energy. So my intuition gets really good.
Yes. Yeah. In
And
those moments of, yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah. But the invitation now is to take that into our daily lives or in things we do. And yeah, but I love that because it's in the centeredness, in allowing ourselves to be this connection. Because I believe when we go into trigger or pain or trauma or whatever, or when we're not happy in a way, we go out of a connection. But how can we still stay in this connection with our truest self or with the light that is within us, with our resilience? Because then it also feels like we don't feel alone, because there's so much more around us and we can truly feel alone. But when we're in this centeredness, we know we are not alone. We know we are, even though we might feel sadness or, well, we know there's so much more support within ourselves and within the field around us, but just within the connection we have. And yeah,
absolutely, because we suffer because we think we're alone.
yes, yeah, it is. Yeah,
That's a great point. Yeah.
yeah, I
This
think that's really good.
suffering comes because you think you have to do it all by yourself, but when you're in the energy, it's connected. I can't even explain how. And if you've never been there, it's almost magical when you experience it. It's like, whoa, what is going on here? And then the body can't hold on to what hurts you anymore, so it starts to release. And sometimes it's in tears, sometimes it's in a rush of heat, or
Mm,
sometimes just, energy starts to dissolve because you become a part of the whole that is love. And
yeah.
whatever breaks your heart, when you open it, comes out first. So those broken pieces of you kind of float to the surface
Mm.
when you do this kind of work. And then the triggers are gone, and you have more compassion, you feel more peace.
Mm,
You're not chasing stuff on the outside of you.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is the training in the body wisdom that I do is a specific training for coaches as well, but anybody can have it, but I have a training for coaches to
Mm,
learn how to do this work first on themselves,
yeah.
and then to hold space for the other and teach them as well how to connect to this energy.
Mm,
And it's so simple, but yet you
yeah.
gotta do the work, and you gotta understand how and have compassion as you're doing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that I believe that everything happens as it's supposed to happen.
Yes, yeah. It's surrendering in the deeper knowing, and truly what I love in this share as well, because the power is in doing the inner work or staying present in what is being. But sometimes, like I think as well, as you shared, the most profound things are very simple, but they are not. They are simple for maybe for the mind to think, okay, yes, how easy can it be to be present? But most of the time they are the most difficult things. And but I think also for the future moving forward, our invitation is to do the inner work. It's not the quick fix. It's not the course that will help you to be happy in 10 minutes or whatever, but it's really staying true to yourself and loving all the parts of you, because it's also understanding when we go into a crisis or a trigger, we can deny it, but then it will keep on repeating. It will keep on building momentum until it will keep knocking on your door until you're ready to listen. And it's really honoring, okay, you hold the power within yourself to make that shift right now, to stay in the energy, to hold space with peace, with compassion, with love, whatever. Yeah.
To surrender it. And I'm not saying that it's not a religious thing, but a lot of people will surrender it to God. A lot of people will surrender it to the universe just to connect to some higher love than that they know. And this is also helpful, I think, for people in whatever way that takes form for them.
Yeah.
And it can be nature, it can be, but that's something that's so necessary for us, that we have that place to completely surrender and let go. And the universe will force us to do that if we don't.
Yeah,
And that's when the crisis comes.
yes.
If you're there and you say, this is too heavy for me to carry alone, you're right. You're right. So finding a coach or a friend or you need to surrender and let the mess come.
Yeah.
And have patience, be kind to yourself. And while I was going through some difficult times, people are like, are you taking care of yourself? I'm like, what does that mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, am I supposed to get a massage? What do you mean? Like, that's not what, no, that's not it. Don't get your nails done. It's fine if you do, but that's not the taking care of yourself. It's taking care of the triggers, the pain, the stuff that's coming up in you.
Mm-hmm.
Loving that.
Yeah.
It's so much beyond.
It is. Yeah. But it is when and that's what I love about this talk. It starts with the awareness that's an invitation for growth. And when we, however painful, challenging, however, yeah, struggling we're in that moment, when we can hold that it's an invitation for growth, then things start to shift. Then we can be compassionate, then we can be centered in the now, and then we like, but it's the awareness that it's not something that is bringing you down. There's something greater that wants to awaken within you, something deeper that wants to be remembered. And in that space, it's you, because that's what I love as well. It's you tuning in what feels aligned for you. What, like you shared, going into nature, meditation, coaching, whatever. But again, we're coming back to this authentic version of ourselves. So what do you truly need in this now moment? And it might also be different in a year from now, but it's you honoring, okay, what does your soul, your body, your cells, your emotions, what do they truly need? Is it a hug? Is it a good conversation? Is it just an amazing cry and just releasing the energy? Is it just laying in bed or whatever feels, but it's honoring that. Yeah.
But then we have aha moments. We change jobs, we change relationships, we change countries, we make big shifts then. There's a difference between running away
Mm-hmm.
from it and making the steps you need out of love. So that's another good question. Maybe we're almost at the end of this, but are you making the choice out of fear or out of love?
Mm-hmm.
Ask yourself that. And if it's out of fear, maybe you should dive a little deeper into that. What is that trigger? What is that fear? And if you know it's out of love, one more little quote, the from a teacher, I think it was Maraji, he said, the mind is a sea of questions and there are no answers. You just keep spinning around. And the heart or the soul is the sea of answers and there are no questions. So when you get to that soul level, So it doesn't matter if anybody agrees with you or not.
Yes.
You just know. And then you have compassion for everybody who doesn't get it, who doesn't get where you are. And if you're still debating, should I do this? Should I not do that? You can ask help. It's okay. You can ask people's opinions. But when you know, you know.
It is. Yeah. I think that's I get goosebumps when you know, it really is. I want to invite everyone to tune in to your links. They're sharing below this video, audio, whatever way you're tuning in. And if people want to join your upcoming program, and they can find all the, yes.
Information there for the coaching trainings, or
Yes.
even one-on-one coaching is possible, crisis.
You also have a YouTube channel where you're sharing.
Yes, I have videos on YouTube channel, Dorinda Farver. Just look me up there, and lots of ways to connect. But and I'm open. I'm open to. I do corporate trainings as well, and just helping people to wake up and see what's possible. Thank you very much, Kim, for having me. I really appreciate it. And
thank you. It's really amazing. Thank you for your light and your inspiration. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, for being you, and for feeling the call of soul love. And feel free to like, comment, or share, because it really helps spreading the codes of these empowering conversations. So for now, I just send you so much love, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next Soul Love podcast. So much love. Bye.
love. Bye.
Thank you for joining this episode of Soul Love. If you want to find out more about what we do, you can find it below. And I'll see you in the next episode. Much love.